Hello, everyone, and welcome to By Design with Dr. Erika. Today on our show, I am excited to be joined by Loubna, who is an international best-selling author, certified professional speaker, and a multi-award winning strategic dynamo. She is recognized globally for her extraordinary skill of being able to mentor entrepreneurs to gain clarity, focus, and momentum with lightning speed. She didn't say fast. She said lightning speed. I just want y'all to hear that. And today we'll be chatting about getting unstuck and breaking free, and essentially how you can find happiness in the midst of it all, the midst of your career transition, the rough times, whatever. We're going to talk about it. So stay tuned, guys. Loubna, welcome to the show.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
No
It's going to be
problem.
fun.
Yes, I'm excited to have you here today and just chat and kind of just learn from you as well. So, Loubna, I know that we both kind of have similar experiences where we worked in the corporate, big company type thing and we're kind of stuck there for a little while. Tell me about kind of your journey from corporate to where you are now.
Yeah. Well, like anyone else, I went to school and in my case, university. And I don't know if you know, but the majority of us have always been, okay, you need to go to school, go to university so you can get a good job. That was the path we were all conditioned to go on.
Right.
Well, it was generally my path. So I started in my very first job, which was a teaching hospital as an IT consultant in the time. And I don't know if you're young, you won't even know what I'm talking about right now. But it was the time where they were still working with paper patient records.
Oh yeah. I remember those days.
Paper. And that was it. And you would see a doctor record his notes about a patient on a voice recorder, give it to his secretary, and she would type it out on a typewriter. That period. So you need to
Mm,
go back a couple of decades
mhm.
when the computers and internet were very, very rare. Let's put it this way. And the
Right.
internet just existed for about 2 years at that time. And I was one of the people that was there to support the transition from paper to digital,
Okay.
which is almost as challenging as supporting people to get used to what we're going through right now, being a global pandemic and a
Mhm.
recession and everything. That it's almost the same patterns at that time. So I started in large organizations. The difference being is that when I started my really very first real corporate job, so not all of the smaller jobs that I've had since I was 14, I promised myself one thing, and that is, if I'm not having fun, I will leave no matter the circumstances. And I really
Wow.
call it a sacred agreement, because that meant that I'm not looking at my colleagues, managers, clients, or whomever for me to have fun. It's my responsibility. So that kickstarted the journey of, okay, let's make sure that we can have fun and how we can have fun in business. And I was very lucky because that very first job in that teaching hospital, there was no job description. And I can still remember that conversation with my manager. He said, "Look, I want you to do this IT consultancy job for us, but we've just had a change of organizational model from centralized to decentralized. So we're building this up, and your job description has not been written yet."
Wow.
Okay. And I turned to him. I said, "Well, then you need to tell me what I need to do." And he said, "But I'm not the expert. You are." And I literally thought, and I still remember that moment, looking at him and thinking, there is nothing I can say because you are so right now. Ever experienced that? That someone says something to you and you think, damn, I don't have
Right.
any munition against that because
Right.
you're right. He said, I'm a manager. My job is to support you, the expert, in
Mhm.
being able to do. So you're the one that's going to tell me what you need from me instead of me telling you what you need to do. I don't know
Right.
anything about IT. I'm a simple
Right.
manager.
It's kind of freeing and scary at the same time.
I'm like, how am I gonna know what I know? I just barely finished university. This is my very first real job. And now you're throwing me in the ocean and you're telling me, well, learn how to swim, basically.
Mhm.
That one experience has changed it all for me in terms of my corporate career, because I've never looked at a job description ever. Because
Mm.
when you start out that way, you start out discovering your own strengths and being able to translate the strengths into value for an organization. Because they have a problem or a question or a challenge. How can I support them with that combination? So 3 years, I've been able to discover my personal working formula in having fun, as well as providing value and creating my job. So I was
Right.
doing job crafting when it didn't even exist as a concept.
Right. It's like you were an entrepreneur in
I was
corporate
an
America.
intrapreneur.
Yes.
That started the intrapreneur in me. I
Mm.
never looked at a job description. From that, for 3 years IT consulting, I went to 11 years as IT auditing. So instead of advising and consulting on IT, I went to doing research on the quality of IT within the Dutch government. So we're talking ministries of 1,200, 2,000, 30,000 employees. So I've done big projects. I've done complexity. I've done a lot of things. And always as that intrapreneur. My managers, if you were to speak to them right now, they would say, she drove me nuts, but she got the job done. Don't ask me how she did it, but she got the job done.
And that's the most important part.
And I thought, as long as I get the job done, you shouldn't care about how I do it. But it was challenging because they didn't know how to deal with someone that is an intrapreneur in any way, shape, or form. But because my clients was raving fans, I got the job done. So they didn't have any munition to tell me that I needed to stop because I still got the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in that period, in that 11 years, I got a lot of colleagues saying to me, you only do what you enjoy doing. And I'm like, yes, of course. And it was completely normal to me, not realizing that's abnormal for them.
Mm-hmm.
Have I ever experienced something that for you is so normal that you don't even realize that it might be abnormal for someone else? That's what I was in.
Yeah.
And it took about person number 30 to say, oh, you only do, for me to notice the tone with which they were saying it. Admiration and jealousy combined.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does she
Yeah.
do that? I mean, she gets everything done, even the things that we believe can never be done in this big hierarchical bureaucratic organization called a Dutch ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it done. And no manager would ever say no to me. So I started changing my response to, okay, but you can do that too. You can, or just like me. And they would say, no, 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 no. And I was like, why not? And they would say, because I'm different.
Right.
Again, I thought, okay, if you want to believe that, go ahead. I'm still going to do what I enjoy doing. Again, number 30 later on. And I thought, okay, if these people really believe that I was born this way, they are so mistaken. So I started changing my response again. Saying, if you had met me when I was 12, 13, 14 years, you would have met the most shy girl in the world. I wasn't born this way. This is made. This is conditioned. This is learned behavior. This is how I was born and I got from this at all. I chose to be like this. I chose to discover ways to do this. So if I can do it, so can you. You'll still find about 80% that says, no, 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 I'm different. And I want to keep saying that to myself and keep myself in the position that I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a 20% that were like, can you teach me? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I started coaching and mentoring other people in taking charge of their career and taking charge and empowering them in terms of personal leadership. And that got me onto the path of discovering happiness and the science of happiness.
I love that. I love that you say something interesting because some people can say, I will only do what I love, only do what's fun for me. But it's one thing to say it and it's one thing to act upon it and embrace it and live it. And you mentioned that, when you were 12 or younger, in the younger ages, that you were a different person. What was it that sparked you to actually believe that you could live this life of fun in everything that you do?
I can't remember exactly what it was, but basically high school, all of it was me being that introverted girl, not wanting to stand out and just going through the motions of every day. And thought, as long as I can survive this, I'm happy. And I think that the best way that I can describe it is most of the people have their teenage years being very rebellious and acting out and discovering who you are. For me, that didn't start until I was 18 and walking around a university. because there I met different people, really different people. Because high school was still, the majority came from the same area I'm
Right.
living in. But university, you get people from different cities who had moved to there and have different experiences. So for me, that was branching out. I was, what's the word I'm looking for? I was really getting connected with really different perspectives, and I could really grow into, and that spurred discovering, okay, who am I in this life? Who am I? And I got my rebellious side was activated more. Even my extroverted side was acting out more. And one event in that period of time is the seed for why I am a professional speaker right now. And that's one of my teachers saying, and I still remember sitting in that chair thinking, I need to escape. Because he said, to be able to graduate from this topic, you need to present. And I was like, just tell me what that day is and I'll call in sick. I'm going to be sick on that day. That's a promise. And whilst I'm thinking that, he's saying, and if you're thinking right now, you're going to be sick on that day, think again. You cannot graduate from this topic unless you present. Now, again, this is the period of time where it wasn't a PowerPoint presentation. It was an overhead projector where you need to put and scroll through it. Again, if you're too young, you have no clue what I'm talking about. As I'm appealing to the people that right now know and can guess my age. So that was the thing. So even you've got the fear of public speaking. Now you also, so you're not only remembering what you need to speak about, you also need to remember how that damn projector works.
Right.
And which took skill, honestly, to do both.
Right. At the same time. Yeah.
At the same time. But he forced each and every one of us, despite the fact that we were like, I'm not presenting. I'm not a presenter. Just let me be. I don't want to be standing out in any way, shape, or form. But because he forced me to do it, because I really wanted to graduate from that topic, it spurred something. It lit that fire of, oh, I actually enjoy this. I actually enjoy doing this. I could not believe what had just happened. I was still like, I don't know if I'm really good at it because I'm treading on new grounds here. But it was enough of a fire for me to go, I think I'm going to do this more. And with that came more expression of who I am, more of getting out there, more connecting with people, more having conversations, more getting in front of a group. And that triggered also my leadership. Because I'm a leader, I'm not a follower in any way, shape, or form. Just I'm going. I'm the one that if you don't follow me, you won't be able to see me with the speed I'm going.
Oh, wow. Cool. Interesting. I like that because I think in that story, right, when you're talking about just college itself and that course where you had to speak, it's all about allowing yourself to explore, right?
Yeah.
It's all about allowing yourself to try different things. And I think as we get older, we stop dreaming, we stop exploring, we stop trying. And that's a big part of growing and really figuring out what you're good at, what you like, and what you don't like. You have to do those types of things. So I love that. Yes. So now we talked about your beginnings of intrapreneurship, which I love that term, by the way. What you were successful being an intrapreneur and mentoring women in that capacity. What sparked you to want to kind of leave that and sort of venture out on your own?
Yeah. That was at I was at my job that I've been on for 11 years. So that's the longest job that I've ever had. 11 years. And I loved every single thing. But what I noticed was that I really grew into that entrepreneurship, but I was being held back more and more. So a couple of things happened in the period between 2013 and the end of 2014. In that 18 months period, so many things happened, and it's the universe giving you signals that you should be moving on. And I just wasn't listening. I wasn't in tune like I was, like I am now. In that period of time, because I really was conflicted, because I really loved that job. I really loved being an IT auditor. So I was like, why are you pushing me away from this? Well, I'm still loving this.
Right.
But The event that happened in 2013 was in the span of 4 weeks. I was the very first thing, my managing director. So again, a hierarchical and bureaucratic organization, which is a Dutch ministry. I had, it was me, my manager, director, and managing director. So we're going 3 levels up. That managing director came to me one day and said, I want to take you out for lunch.
Okay.
And the very first question you always ask is the lunch in the office or outside of the office? In the office means bad news. Outside is good news. Unwritten rule, but that's how it worked in that organization. And which is, no, I'm going to take you outside. I'm like, okay, this
breathe a sigh of relief.
This is going to be good. It wasn't, because I knew at that time I did nothing wrong. There was no client cross with me. She was asking me to do the high profile projects. I mean, every time someone was panicking, they came to me and my colleague for getting it done, because we always got it done. Even things that people said, oh my God, this can only go wrong. And we were like, give us those things. We love the things that can only go wrong, because we like to see that we can shift that.
Right.
So she took me out and said, we had a lovely conversation. And somewhere around the middle, she said, have you ever considered becoming a manager? And just think about it. Have you ever had a question being asked and there was an answer you were thinking about, but you hear yourself uttering other words? That's what happened to me in that moment. Because what I said was this: I know I can already be a manager. I just don't know if I want to right now. And I'm listening to myself uttering these words and thinking, damn, girl, what did you just say? What did you say? But it was the truth. That's how I felt. I knew I was going to lead because I had led projects, complex projects. I loved having teams as a project manager. So I could do the same thing as a line manager as well. There was nothing in my skill set thinking that I couldn't. I just didn't know if I wanted to be a manager at that time in my career.
Would that have been fun?
But again, I could have made it fun, and I would have. But I just didn't know, because I was having fun doing the things that I was already doing. So I didn't know if I wanted to have the hassle of the extra responsibilities. So that's one. So she said, but what if because I'm thinking about moving one of the managers away from his team, because he's been managing that team for so many years, and I want to see if you can do something else, manage a different team. What if I give you that team for 6 months? Now, if you know me, you know, don't give me a challenge, because I will say yes. So I said, sure, there's another way to find out whether I really want it or not. I'll do it for 6 months. And either I come out of it thinking, no ever way that I'm ever going to do that, or, oh my God, could you give me another team, because this is so much fun. Right. Whatever it was, I was willing to explore that. She said, okay, well, I'm going to have a think about it and see how I can move the puzzle pieces around, and well, I'll get back to you. 4 weeks later, we have another lunch outside. So I thought it was good news. And in that 4 weeks, I was building up to oh my God, I'm going to get to explore when I want to be a manager. So I was excited. We're having lunch and she's chit-chatting and chit-chatting and chit-chatting. And I'm thinking, when are you going to start the conversation about? Because I'm not the one that needs to start. You need to start this. You've invited me. And in the last 10 minutes, she finally said, yeah, you shouldn't want to be promoted because you'll never leave this organization if you are.
Huh.
Yeah.
He said that. Wow.
Exactly. And I'm like, huh? What just happened? It was 4 weeks ago. What happened in the last 4 weeks for you to make this U-turn? And I'm so in my head that I'm not connected to her anymore. I'm in my head. Now, anyone that hears this story thinks, why didn't you ask her? I wasn't. I'm like, what the hell happened in the last 4 weeks for her to do? I'm completely having a conversation with myself. And instead of asking her, I don't. We walk back to the office and I'm still thinking.
You never asked her? No. Okay. All right.
No. I'm like, I was so preoccupied because for me, it was like, really? How did we go from I want you, I see you as a manager, to you shouldn't want to be promoted because you'll never leave this organization? So for me, it was, I want to keep you, so I want to give you the opportunity of becoming a manager, to I want to get rid of you. How does that even get done in 4 weeks' time? I just couldn't get. So I went back to the office, still confused, still going around. Okay, what happened in the last 4 weeks? And playing that movie over and over again, and thinking I'll find a detail. I'm sure I found the detail. And something else happened that day that was out of character for me. I forgot the charger of my phone, of my iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
I never forget the charger of my iPhone, and I forgot it, and the battery was running low. So I thought, okay, who in the office has an iPhone or an iPad? Because the corporate phones were Blackberries,
Okay.
so you couldn't interchange those. I'm like, okay, who does it? Oh, my director. So the level below me has an iPad. So I'll go see him, see if he's in his office, and ask if I can borrow his charger. So I did. Don't ask me why, but these things are related, because I went in, asked him, and he said, yeah, sure, you can borrow it. And he said, you had lunch with the managing director, didn't you? And I first thought, how do you know that? And again, okay, but that's not a secret. Go. I said, yeah, that's true. Yeah. You shouldn't want to be promoted. You'll never leave this organization. I thought, you happened. The universe just answered my question. You happened. You, and I'm not going to say it because I don't want to cuss. And I knew exactly you happened. Now, this director was, because he left, he was fired at the end of that year because of impropriety behavior. So, but this is the man who had a huge ego, could not take me being the entrepreneur because he wanted to control me, and he couldn't. And I was too strong for him to really for him to butt heads with me, because he used the manager to do that. So he would send the manager to me and say, the director wants you to do this or that. And I would say, why? And he'd say, he just wants to do yes. And I'm not going to do it if I don't know why. Got to tell me why. So that happened. So I knew instantly, I thought, okay, you convinced the managing director to change her mind. Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say what I really wanted to say. And I thought, damn, the managing director just dropped in terms of my respect for her.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he can convince you of something and do a 180 on that, that just means you're not strong in your conviction.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really wanting to go the extra mile for me or any of your employees, and that for that matter. And I really thought, okay, this is not good. A couple of months later, my manager comes to me and he said, the director wants you to do something. And I said, okay, what? He said he wants you to order some books. And I'm literally, I'm going back and saying, since when am I the secretary? He said, what do you mean? He said, ordering books is a job of the secretary, not mine. I'm too expensive to be spending time ordering books. So why? And he wants you because it's on sale at that shop, and we've got a budget left, and he wants you to order 200. I said, what's he going to do with those? Yeah, he's going to give them away. I said, okay, you better sit down right now. Now, bear in mind, this is my manager who's asking me to do this. This is basically my boss who determines whether or not I get promoted or get a bonus or whatever. And I was already being the rebellious person. So I said, you better sit down. I said, one, I'm not going to order those books. He said, but he wants you to. I said, I'm not going to order those books. And I'm going to go a step further. If I find out anyone in this organization is asked to order those books, I'm going to the highest boss. That's not the managing director. That's the secretary general. And I'm going to report him. He said, why? He said, because you stupid manager, he's just asked me something that's non-compliant. We are an audit organization. We go into other organizations to make sure that they are compliant, and you're now asking me something that will get me fired, that will get me my title revoked. So if I hear anyone is being asked to order these 200 books, I'm reporting him. And the managers went,
oh wow.
I'm like, if you want to butt heads with me, you better do it with you better come packing, because I will hit back based on facts. He was so scared, and I'm sure he went back to the director and told him this story. And I would have done it. I would have reported him, because I thought, one manager, you should have thought about this, because you should know that this is non-compliant, which is, we need to practice what we preach, especially being auditors.
Right.
I mean, the world is looking at us.
Right.
And you're asking me something that's non-compliant behavior as my manager. So that is so wrong on so many places, on so many levels that I couldn't imagine. So I knew by that time I was breaking down everything that I had built up in that organization. By the end of 2014, I said to my manager at my end of the year performance review, which was really good, because I never did something that was not going to make it good.
Right.
I said, I'm leaving. I said, I don't know when, but I'm leaving. I'm done.
Wow.
I've done. This is not my environment anymore. If this is behavior that's going to be accepted and and everybody stops thinking in the right way, then I need to move out of this environment, because this is not for me anymore. I'm going to get more rebellious, which is not good for you or me.
Right.
I said, I'm going to leave. And he says, when? I said, I don't know. I've got a business coach and I'm thinking about starting growing into entrepreneurship, because I had already started my business, but it was more of a side hustle and I was playing around like a hobby. Said, but I need a business coach to help me on that. And I've invested in a program. So, and I don't know if it's going to take me 4 months, 6 months, a year to build something that will make me able to make that decision to actually leave. Because there was one thing that I needed to do, is to have the confidence that I would be able to generate revenue consistently. It wasn't like I need to make my very first 100K. No, I need to have confidence in the process of being able to make it.
Right.
That would be, for me, was enough to say goodbye to the financial security of a GOB. And he said, okay. And he said, but why? And this was the second time in that period of time that I was thinking about an answer, but there were different words coming out of my mouth. Before I knew it, I could hear myself say, because there's no future for me with this. And I'm thinking, you just really want to get out of here, really. You really want to close that door, don't you?
I love the honesty.
But it was exactly how I felt.
Right.
It was the best summary of everything that had happened, starting from that moment in 2013 up to the end of 2014. Because a couple of other things happened also that got me, okay, I'm done. I am done, universe. I'm listening to you. I'm done.
Right.
That's how I felt. It was the best summary.
Wow.
And he felt quiet for about 10 seconds and then said, you are right.
Okay. So during that time, where you made that decision to leave in your mind, but you still had time to sort of figure out what you were doing, how did you maintain your sanity?
I didn't. Because in my mind, I transitioned from, I've got one leg in this organization, another leg outside of this organization. What am I doing here? But what am I actually doing here? I'm not motivated anymore to do anything for them anymore because I'm leaving.
Right.
The only thing that made it worthwhile was one colleague that I really loved working with, and we did a couple of other projects that was absolutely out of the world. And my clients, because again, my clients were raving fans. They loved me. They would call me and say, do you have time to do a project for me? And not my manager. I had a shop in shop. I was the Intrapreneur. And that kept me going for a couple of months, but that all changed. Now this was November 2014, May 2015. I have the HR conversation with my manager, and he literally said, the very first thing he said in the very first minute, he said, and when are you leaving? I'm like, I told you, you'll be the first person I will tell when I'm leaving. Why are you asking me now? He said, well, then I can tell the director we can open up your position to start attracting new people. And as soon as he said that, I thought, I can't spend another day in here. I can't spend even another month in it. I need to move. But again, I wasn't ready to jump ship yet because I was in the middle of the business coach program. So I said, okay, well, universe, if you can help me with this one, what I would really love is to find a part-time job for 1 year. I'll work 3 days a week doing something that's more in alignment with what I do want to do as an entrepreneur. Give me that year where I can build my business to that point, but it has to be a contract because at that moment in time, I had an unlimited contract. They couldn't get rid of me even if they tried. So I said, no, I have to give it a deadline. So if I can find a part-time job doing something in alignment with what I want to do as an entrepreneur for 1 year. So it has to be a 1-year contract. 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from a client, and I shared it with 2 people. For one of the thing at my ministry, and it is a project manager job for a change management process for the whole ministry. I'm like, I'm on that one. Thank you, universe. You just answered the call. And literally 3 months later, I was gone. I was gone.
Wow. But it sounds like you have to find your level of comfort, right? Some people can just jump and figure it out as they go. Some people have to stay in that dual role of one leg in, one leg out. And then to your point, finding that part-time to kind of tide you over until you actually build what you want to build. So
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Now, I think it's important to first find your level of comfort, and at the same time, take action that reflects that commitment. So if you've made the decision that you want to transition from a career to entrepreneurship, then something's got to give. So if you're in a full-time job, then you need to either say, okay, I'm going to go do that part-time. So I'm going to reduce the amount of hours that I work for in my job so that I have time to build my business. What doesn't work is if you're going to say, I want to become an entrepreneur, but you still work full-time. You won't have time to build your business. So you're going to stay in that limbo time for a very long time if you do that way. So it has to be, whether it's finding another part-time job, it has to reflect moving towards what you really want, so that the universe will respond in terms of opportunities to support you on that journey. What I see too many people do is say, I really want to do what you do, and I want to become an entrepreneur just like you, but stay in a full-time job. And I'm like, that can't happen. If you're really serious about transitioning, that it has to reflect your behavior.
Right. Right. I love that. And you're speaking to me because I stayed in full time for years trying to build a business, and it was hard. It was so hard. Just from a time perspective and just from a mental perspective, it's like you're torn with where your focus is. So
absolutely. And you can't, let's be honest. I mean, we all have the same 24 hours a day. We all need to get our sleep, and you won't have even if you have the time. So you spend, I don't know, from midnight, to 2 a.m. working on your business, you won't have the mental capacity to do something productive in that time because you've already had a full on day.
Right.
You won't. It can't be done.
Right. Right. I love that. So question for you, because that's kind of like the road to entrepreneurship, right? Finding that path. So we talked about, you being able to help your clients with lightning speed success. So once they become entrepreneurs, what in your mind do you think are the keys to being successful at this game of entrepreneurship?
Oh, beautiful question. The very first one is self-awareness. The reason I got to do what I enjoy doing, whether it was in my corporate career or in my entrepreneurship, is that I know myself. I know my personality. I know my strengths. I know my weakness. I know the good, bad, and the ugly. That is Loubna right now. And if you know that, you've got a very strong foundation for your business, even if you want to pursue a corporate career still, but we're talking about an audience who wants to transition. So know yourself really well. And there's several ways that you can do that, and you can discover more about yourself, but know who you are, what you're good at, and what you're not so good at. But also because you can have something that you're good at, but you don't enjoy doing. Make sure you know that too.
Yes.
Because what you want is the sweet spot between what you're good at and what you enjoy doing.
Right.
You don't want to be doing something you're good at, but you don't enjoy doing. That's not where we want to go.
Right.
But also what you're not good at, because those are the things that you want to outsource as soon as possible, or find someone who does love what you don't love or not good at to do it for you, in terms of whether it's bartering or collaboration or partnerships, whatever it is. But there's always someone that actually enjoys and is really good at some of the things that you don't want to do. So that's one part. So if you've got that self-awareness and you got that packed, it will boost your confidence, and you'll be able to work from the inside out. Because there's a lot of tips, tricks, strategies out there about how you can build a business.
Yeah.
There are literally hundreds of ways, maybe even thousands of ways that you can build a business. But if you don't know who you are, you don't know what you stand for, you don't know how you want to show up in the world, you'll literally be starting to follow everyone else that says you need to be doing X, Y, Z, A, B, and you're going to be spending at least 2 to 3 years following those paths and then discovering, oh my God, this is so not me. I'm trying to be someone or show up as someone that is not in alignment with whom I am. And if you do that, you won't be successful.
Right.
However you define success, you won't, because it's not in alignment with who you are. You will be depleted by the time you get to some place.
Yes.
And if you show up in a depleted form, no one will buy from you.
Right. That is so true. Like there's so many people out there just yelling at you, emails and, webinars, everything. And you can get lost just
completely. And you get, I mean, one of the things that I hear a lot from my clients who are entrepreneurs is I'm confused, I'm lost, I'm overwhelmed. And we really need to strip it down, because 8 out of 10 times it all has to do with the self-awareness part. They don't know who they are. And if you don't know who they are, other people will determine who you need to be for them.
Yeah.
You don't want to go down that road. So that's why I will always hear me about, make sure that you know that you have that self-awareness piece. You can really discover very quickly what that is. There are tests out there you can ask people. So that's not the challenging part. It is focusing your attention there first, because most business coaches will tell you need to focus on your business plan first. And I'm telling you need to focus on your personal plan first.
Yeah, I love that.
Before you go to the business plan. So that's one. Number 2, find your way. Just bear in mind, just find your way. Listen to different people, different perspective, but in the back of your mind, there are literally 100 different ways that you can build a business.
You mean there's not one right way?
There is no right way. What has worked for one person might not work for you. Because they're doing what's in alignment with them. That's why they're successful, and that's why they're successful so fast. Because they know themselves, and which is literally the part underneath the iceberg, if you've ever heard of the iceberg. But they won't tell you about that because it's unconscious for them. Just like it was unconscious for me to always have fun in my job. That's the level. You need to realize that everything that people tell you, if they don't tell you what's going on underneath the iceberg, you can't really judge the effectiveness of that strategy or tactic for you and for your business. So that's really important. The other key that I would absolutely share with you is explore.
Yes.
Explore and keep exploring. Don't give up too easily, because you might hop on a certain path and then it will be messy in the middle. It really will. It will be uncomfortable. It will not be fun at all, but you need to go through that middle part to come out on the rainbow side. So bear in mind, don't give up too much. Give every plan at least 3 months. So don't try something for a week and then say it's not working for me, because let's be honest, that's too short. Give it at least 3 months. If after 3 months you're still nowhere to be found, then jump to the next boat. So I think those are the 3 things that I would most definitely say. If you've got those down, then you're on your way to create a thriving business that will support you in any way that you would like it to support you.
Awesome. So just in case you guys didn't catch it all, it was self-awareness, find your way, and explore. Those are the keys that you want to be writing down right now. So love that. Thank you for sharing it. And as a new entrepreneur, I probably faced all those in my time of starting my business. So it is completely true. So yes. So Loubna, tell us what's going on with your business right now. Like what are you doing? What are you working on?
Well, I'm working on my business plan for 2021.
Okay.
Because I've got my intention set that I want to have a thriving business in 2021, despite the circumstances.
Okay.
2020 has been a reset and reflective year on many, many levels. Because as a professional speaker, my calendar was wiped clean completely for the whole year. So that's really That has been challenging. I'm going to be honest. That really has been challenging if you don't have anything else. But at the same time, there's been a blessing because it really got me to a point. Okay, I need to go back to the basics. Self-aware. Who am I? How do I want to show up? But what's the real essence of what I want to share with the world? What's the message that I want to share with the world? What's the big challenges that I see that I want to contribute in solving? So I'm working on my business plan for 2021, and it's also something that I'm sharing with my community on social media, that I'm really getting, okay, start thinking about 2021. I mean, you need to start thinking about preparing the land and preparing the runway for you the next year. Don't do that in January. Really don't. You've already lost a month. So start doing that now and come up with, what if I can dream big, what would be the ideal 2021? What do I want to celebrate at the end of 2021? And what do I need in terms of support, in terms of community, in terms of creating products, services, how I'm going to show up in 2021. So I'm thinking about all of that right now. So I'm prepared for an amazing 2021.
Yes, I think we're all looking forward to 2021 and really getting things back to normal as much as we can.
Well, to be honest, I don't think that we will.
Probably right.
I
It'll
think
be a
we're
new
all
normal.
we're creating a new normal. We're
Yeah.
creating a new standard for each and every one of us,
Yeah.
and it's great because now you have the chance to create that new normal for you. You have the chance to think about, okay, I don't have to rush in traffic every day. Is this really what I want to, how I want to spend my time? Whether you're in a career right now and thinking, oh, I've always wanted to start a business, or you're in a career and thought, is this the career that I want to spend the next couple of years still working on, or is it time to make that transition? And whether you make that transition in baby steps, you can start doing a course, an online course for free, in the direction that you want to change. You can do things right now that will help you move forward. So it's really been literally a reset and a reflective year for each and every one of us. So some people are still in the, oh my God, in fear mode and anxiety mode. Some people have woken up with the, okay, this is an opportunity to start thinking about what matters in my life, what really matters, and am I spending enough time in those things that matter to me? And whether that is family for you, or your children, or your friends, or your new hobby, or a hobby that you haven't given much time to, or your business, whatever it is for you. I mean, for me, it was learning Spanish, getting back into practice to learning Spanish, reading books. With all the rush of a work day, barely got time to sit down to actually read a book and not skim through a book. I'm not talking about that. I've done that, but really read a book and be present with what I'm doing right now. So I think that the people that are going to win 2021 and beyond are the ones that are right now looking into, okay, what can I do? What are the opportunities of what's coming? Even if the whole world burns down, if we end up out of the global pandemic, but into an economic recession for the next 2 to 3 years, what can I do? What can I have influence despite those circumstances? Because I'm going to share with you one thing. There are entrepreneurs that have taken a hit, and there are entrepreneurs that have had $1 million launches. In the past 10 months. And everything in between. So you can't tell me, I won't believe you, that it's not possible. You really can't tell me. If they can do it, so can we.
Do it. Yes, I love it. I completely agree. I have one last question for you, Loubna, before we get to the special part of the show. With everything that you do, you're speaking, you're mentoring, you are writing because you have books. How do you keep everything? Wait, you have 2 books back there, right?
I've got 4.
Okay.
These are 2 of them.
Okay. Are they all on Amazon? Where can they find them?
Yeah, Amazon.
Okay, perfect. So with everything you do, how do you stay organized?
Well, I love, no. Let me start. I will start from my own tips. Okay. So number 1 is self-awareness. So one of the dimensions in my personality is that I'm chaotic. So if I were to show you my desk right now, you would see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stacks.
Okay.
You would see completely different things because I love variety also.
Okay.
And it's a mess, according to some people. Not me.
Okay. It would
This
drive me
is,
crazy.
I know, that's why I'm being really transparent because I practice what I preach. So I am someone who loves chaos because that's how I order.
Mm.
And so that means that how I stay sane and how I do it all is I know how to order even in chaos.
Okay.
So that's one. Number two, one of the very first thing that I started my career on is project management. So I learned how to project manage, how to do multiple projects at the same time. My corporate, I used to have anywhere between 6 to 8 projects going on the same time. And I would know exactly how to manage each and every one of those. So I compartmentalize everything, but I also only use my strengths. I still to this day do what I enjoy doing and what I'm good at. That's why I get to do all of those things because they give me energy. They don't deplete me in my energy.
Love it. Love it.
So I get to do all of those things and still be able to have 8 hours of sleep, 2 hours every night to watch TV, which is just a waste of time, but I still need it to wind down every time. So it has a function. So as long as I have those 10 hours every day, there's still time.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm in bed by 10 o'clock and 2 hours at night with hubby in front of the TV usually. Yeah. But to your point, it's because we have our systems in place that keep us on task, not only on task, but on doing things that are moving the needle, not just doing things just to be doing them sometimes.
Well, one of the things that I've shared many weeks ago, I did a 4-part live series on Facebook, and it was called How to Get More Done in Less Time. Because I've been asked, how do you do it all? I mean, you've got so much going on. How do you do it all? I said, it's very simple. I'm also in the self-awareness piece is I know when my productivity zone is. I know those 2 hours that each and every one of us have on a day-to-day basis where we can do the tasks that require the most focus and the most concentration. What I can do in those 2 hours will take most people that don't work in their productivity zones a whole day. That's the difference. So the self-awareness piece is I know who I am, I know my strengths, and I know my weaknesses. The follow your own path. I've got my personal working formula down to an art and a science. I know exactly how to work, when to work, and how to input the least amount of effort but get the most return on my effort. What most entrepreneurs do is they just push and work hard, but still not produce the same amount of results because they're working against themselves, basically.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Loubna, it has been so great having you here. I could have talked to you for another hour, but I know
I get that a lot. I get that a lot from people that interview me. They're like, I could keep this going.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I know we can't keep talking, so I want to go ahead and get us to the crazy part of the show, which is the Fab Four. And it's just 4 quick questions. Don't think too much. And is that okay with you?
Go for it.
All right. So what's the strangest food you've ever eaten, Loubna?
Strangest food?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever eaten something that strange.
Okay. What's your favorite food?
Sushi.
Ooh, okay. I take that.
I've got a podcast around sushi, believe you me.
I saw that. We'll talk about that afterwards. Okay, if you could have dinner with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins, Elon Musk.
That would be a very interesting dinner party. Oh, I just want to be in the back.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, you've already written several books, but if you were to write a book about yourself, what would it be called?
How to get off the working hard leads to success train fast.
Okay. I like that. Are we going to get that in 2021?
You never know.
All right, the last one, just to finish the statement. I'm
a powerful and dynamic person who believes in being purpose driven and gets up every day to positively impact lives.
Mm, I like that. That may be, I can't say it's the best answer because I don't want to be biased, but that was the most insightful. Okay, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut up. I love it. Loubna, thank you so much for being here. If people want to stay connected with you, engage with you, how can they find you?
Find me on social media. So I've got a business page on Facebook. So if your playground is Facebook, find me on there. It has my name, so you don't have to search for any business name that you can't remember. And I'm sure we can add the link with the description with the episode. If your playground is Instagram, you connect with me there. If your playground is LinkedIn, you can find me on there too. And that's the best way. If you want to connect with me or send me a message, I don't like email.
Okay, great. We will have all of Loubna's playground links in our show notes, so don't worry, I got you. So again, thank you, Loubna. Thank you guys out there for listening. That's all we have for today. As always, if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We're on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. And if you have not joined our By Design Digest, be sure to head over to the website, drerikabydesign.com. Till next time, guys.
Have
Bye.
fun.